Patricia Lacorte from Litstor FHTM2, and this is my major output 3, which is the synthesis from the whole course. The first requirement is a takeaway from 3 modules discussed. The first module that I chose for this output is creatures now, which is, I've always thought of them as something that is static, that is something from the past, and that they don't change at all. Whatever the older people tells us is what they are. They could even be non-existent now, or that I rarely ever hear about them at all. Only through this module did I realize that they may still be actually existing, only that they're trying to blend in with us humans of the modern day. Still, it makes me wonder what is the reality of these creatures nowadays, since what we discuss is only a product of our imagination. I think that we won't ever know what that reality is because, yeah, they blend in with us now. And come to think of it, they won't really show themselves to us if it's not gonna be beneficial to them. That's what I think about it. And the next module that I want to discuss is creatures, our own creature. Because while ideating for my own creature, I'm not sure if I'm just overthinking it or what, but I found it hard. I struggled. I wanted to make something that is both relatable and relevant, but I just couldn't seem to decide what is one thing or one creature that would encapsulate the totality of my idea. Well, I'm still hesitating about them, but of course I had to make one, so I did. But then again, I faced another struggle, that is the loopholes. I had the background, but maybe it's just me not being used to writing or making stories, that there were loopholes or there are mistakes or inconsistencies from what I am sharing. And another factor is that I wasn't as good in speaking. I think I improved now, by the way, but like back then it was really a struggle. My words are like jumbled, and the statements would like clash from one another. That made me more amazed of the people who can like develop and improve their own stories and creations with no loopholes, it is so perfect and coherent. That leads us to the third topic that I chose, which is Oyayi sa Dilim. Oyayi sa Dilim is a short film by Ella Archangel, and I think that this shows how even until now we reimagine and relive these ancient creatures, but even better than before, because compared to back then where it was just already shared, now it is actually published and in written form as well as through videos, which gives us more clarity in terms of the characters, looks, voice, and the likes. I also like how the author made the story realistic and the context, because given the situation of the family, the sacrifice the mother had to make, their economic status, and the culture that we have, I actually believe that they were prone to attracting the Tiana or even more negative creatures. Now let's move on to the second requirement, which is the 3 takeaways from the other activities, such as the sandbox. And my insight from the Pampihirang Parada sandbox is that one, I like their videos so much because I think that both kids and adults will be interested and hooked to watch the videos. And it was one of the first lectures that we discussed in class, and I never really thought about these creatures before that. From there, I realized that these creatures are actually being forgotten in the modern times. I myself am guilty because I actually didn't know some of the creatures presented, so as a Filipino, I felt so guilty. But that also makes me thankful that we have courses like Litstor, so that we can be knowledgeable about these creatures in our very own culture. The next sandbox that I'm going to give insight to is the Green films, wherein we watched a scary film. It was really scary for me to the point where I low-key wanted to cry and I got goosebumps. And that's the opposite of my expectation, because initially I was thinking that this course would have those cute fantasy magical stories, but we're actually on the opposite end. Going back to the Green films, just imagine how scary it would be if what was portrayed was actually a reality to some people. And it scares me that some of these creatures are actually doing human sacrifice just so they could retain their good health or beauty. And the last activity that I'm going to give insight to is the optional activities, where we watch theater plays. This is actually the start of my theater play viewing journey, because for my family, especially my parents, they think of these kind of activities such as watching in cinemas and theater plays, musicals, as a waste of money, especially when it's really expensive. Because of that, I never really knew how it felt to watch live performance like this, and what they do, what's the setup, the effort it takes for the production to do the play. I've always respected them as it is their craft, but after watching a total of 4 theater plays within just about 2 weeks, my respect for them leveled up as I realized how great it is to watch them, because they could make me feel so much emotion in just a few hours. I was really amazed by their setup, the actors and actresses, and their acting itself. It was truly superb, and the flow of the program, the techniques they used in sending the message, and also related to the message, I feel like compared to watching it in cinemas, the way they send their message is more apparent, it is clear, it is more heartfelt. And the 4 theater plays that I watched actually tackles different topics, and I like how some are more on the daily life of a common Filipino, or the struggles within the marriage of a couple, and some are political, some are societal, and some are tackling history. And the last requirement is about how these learnings and insights shape me or develop me as an individual and a member of the society. Personally, since we were dealing with something that is not what I would usually see or hear about, the course really pushed my imagination. It taught me how to create new beings from old stories, to visualize and reinterpret. Studying the Filipino folklore also made me feel more grounded in my Filipino identity. I now feel more knowledgeable about our myths, our stories, and our very own culture. It strengthened my connection with being a Filipino, and how these stories began, what is their origin, what they actually want to teach us, and what they reveal about how the people used to live before. As a student, I think that Litstor helped me develop my critical thinking skills and my creative analysis. Because it's not just about narratives, it's also about symbolism, cultural context, and how these can evolve over time. The activities encourage me to look deeper into our culture, to compare the then and now, and to express myself through art, writing, and speaking. It also improves my research skills and definitely my creative skills, and also my confidence whenever I'm speaking in front of the class. As a future working member of the society, I think that the lessons I got from this class would help me and guide me in appreciating our very own culture and how we can preserve it. Understanding folklore teaches us empathy because it reflects the people's hopes, values, and their fears. It also reminds me and us that the culture evolves and we, as an individual, have a role in shaping it, be it by telling the story or creating arts, videos, and much more. And we can also do that while keeping it relatable and relevant in our modern time. And what has always been my topic is it being chronologically improving, and that is something that shows how the past is actually always connected to the present and will always be connected to, of course, the future. And we can make this more meaningful by our creative interpretation. For the conclusion, I think that Litstor made me realize that folklore isn't just old stories. They are living part of who we are as it shapes us and our community, and these narratives would carry our memories and our culture. All these activities also help me improve my creativity, as well as it gave me the opportunity to reflect, question, and even reinvent my very own future. It also made me appreciate our very own Filipino identity much more, and I hope that as I move forward, I hope that I can use these stories and memories to help me in my endeavor and in my creative journey.